JC Tickets provides first-class trips to Ravens road games, including airfare, 4-star hotels, game tickets, and cocktail parties. We also help provide great seating locations to all Ravens home games. JC Tickets, where the games begin. Visit us at jctickets.net.
Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, jctickets.net, Geico Insurance, Dunaway Furniture, Ocean City Golf Club, RussellStreetReport.com, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Holiday Inn Express, BuyAToyota.com, your official site for Toyota deals. The original Green Turtle, hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
And welcome back in. It is the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show right here on Comcast Speech TV. And with our new TV partner as well, WNDT TV Channel 47, which we're extremely happy to partner with as we expand the show all across the Delmarva Peninsula. We're coming to you from the Ravens Room here at the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City, with Ravens fans, including Ravens Roost 44. Give yourselves a hand. We invite all Ravens fans to come on down. You got to check out this Ravens Room. We've got 5 different games of tickets to give away. So we're going to give you a ticket. You put them in a bin, and you can put as many as you want for 1 week's worth of games, or second week or third, or you can spread them out, and you have a chance to win tickets. So however you want to do it. So we make it worth your while to come on down. We also have Bud Light prize packages, hotel stays as well. So say you're living in Easton and you're watching this on WNDT. Well, you win the hotel package. You can come on back down for another great weekend here, a hotel stay, and enjoy Ocean City for a beautiful weekend during the shoulder season. Mike Bradley, Steve Slaza, Ocean City Mayor Rick Mann, and Buck Mann. Got it right this time. All right. Now, you know what? I should have mentioned this in our first segment, but of course, as you can see, I'm wearing the orange and black. Now, I know we played the orange in the Cleveland Browns, but hey, we've got to give a shout out to the Orioles. American League title champions. First time since 1997, and the first time they claimed it at home in 45 years, I guess, since 1969. So we're very proud of the O's, and to have meaningful baseball in September and October, hopefully October, along with football. As fans, you can't ask for anything more than that.
You can see, I mean, when Bruce Lair was on the show a couple weeks ago, he was talking, he was so fired up, you know, and I imagine when the Colts and the Orioles played, they were both playing, you know, well into the fall. So.
Yep, good stuff. And yeah, I mean, Oriole fans and former Colt fans, they know what that was like for a long time. For the newer generations, we're just getting used to that a little bit. We had that in 2012, and we'll have it in 2014 as well. All right, more on the Ravens win over the Steelers Thursday night. A guy that I wanted to talk about, you know, Dennis Pitta, a favorite target of Joe Flacco, but Owen Daniels was a guy that we picked up in free agency, had some health issues, and there were some question marks as to, because he missed some preseason time and all that, as to how healthy was he really going to be? Was he going to be able to contribute? And guys, 2 touchdowns in the game. He looked great, and boy, you have him along with Dennis Pitta, and you have the combination that New England had back before Hernandez got in his legal issues, the Gronkowski-Hernandez connection. When you have those 2 kind of tight end threats like that, along with the receivers we have, wow, pick your poison defense.
I mean, he had a very good game, and I was hoping. I mean, you didn't know going into the season, you know, with a broken leg, you know, was he going to be damaged goods? But, you know, then the injury he had in preseason was a hamstring, which is, you know, one where you can't rush it, and, you know, hopefully he'll hold off on that for a couple more games and really be back. But he can still catch the ball, and he is still fast. He can get open, but like you're saying, I mean, we could have a dynamic 1-2 combination at tight end.
Yeah, it was a breakout game for Daniels, and I think it really gave the whole offense and Flacco confidence in him, and it allowed them to take some of the pressure off some of the other guys out there. So, and that's going to help them, and I know it's going to help them next week, because Cleveland had trouble last week covering Jimmy Graham, covering the tight ends. So that's going to play into the game on Sunday.
And Buck, I mean, once for the Redskins, once you get Jordan Reed back from injury, you got Jordan Reed and Niles Paul did a good job stepping up to have 2 tight ends like that. It's not essential, but you see a lot of teams going that route now. And Gary Kubiak's offense, he loves the tight ends and H-back.
You know, back to the Ravens, though, they're tight ends. You know, Pitta, which is when he goes out, you know, 2 men are watching him. I mean, he's that big a threat. And, it's that alone is terrific. So.
Well, if they double him, we'll have Owen Daniels all day, or vice versa. We'll certainly take that. A stat when I was looking back that really stood out for me in this game. If you take a look, Steve, at the passing statistics for Joe Flacco, they're very reminiscent of Russell Wilson of the Seattle Seahawks. Very efficient. He threw for under 200 yards, couple of touchdowns. But what does that mean? That means the running game is going well, and that complements the passing game.
Well, I think your formula for win is that Joe throws between 25 and 35 times a game. Joe throws 60 times. He might get some yardage, but we're not winning that game. We become too one-dimensional. And like you're saying, the success of the run game was able to cut his passing numbers back. And I really don't think it's how many yards you get. I think it's how efficient you are and how many third downs you convert.
Yeah, and once you get the lead, you can then play your game. And that's really the Ravens' game, is to run the football, pick their spots for their passing. That's when they're successful.
I mean, you see most teams, guys, that throw the ball 50, 60 times, not likely that they're going to win that game because of having to be so one-dimensional, and usually it means they're having to come from behind,
Exactly.
In that game. But that was big, and it was good to see that the Ravens get back to some balance, which we didn't see in that game against Cincinnati.
Now, they were definitely, balanced. And, like I'm saying, I think the balance is going to increase as they get more and more running options in. The offense is going to get better, every game this year. And that's what, you're looking at the schedule, you're just like, oh, man, I hope we can just make it through the season, be 3-0, be 2-1. But then we didn't know that Cleveland was going to be as good as they are. So now this is going to be
mayor knew.
Be a challenge. Yeah, I knew. I've done for the past 40 years. Just hasn't happened yet.
Well, guys, as you know, it begins and ends in the trenches. Let's talk about the offensive line for a second. Joe Flacco was not sacked. He wasn't even touched in that game. That's a great sign. And, I had some question marks. I knew the offensive line, based on what we saw in the preseason, they could run block. But the question is, could they pass block? They certainly held up very well against the Steelers the other night.
Well, and the offensive line is just much more athletic, and the offensive line fits the offense they're trying to run. Where I never really got the feeling last year that what Juan Castillo was trying to do was what our offensive line was suited for. Plus, we had a new center, and both guards were hurt. But this year we're coming out and we're moving the ball, and he's getting rid of the ball most of the times on a 3-step drop, which makes your line that much better.
Well, and both you guys, with the Browns and the Redskins, both over the last couple of years, very good offensive lines, especially in the run game.
Yeah, and you have to have it, and you have to protect the quarterback, and the quarterback has to know he's going to have that amount of time to throw the football. And really, I think it's all about what Steve said. It's the balance of the attack that really makes them successful. The offensive line is much improved over last year.
Much improved.
Yeah. Red zone, though. Definitely have to work on that. I know there was the one play, Steve, where Joe missed a wide-open Jacoby Jones. Now, I guess the play wasn't designed for him necessarily. It was designed for Steve Smith, but you'd like to have at least a second option. You don't have a lot of time to, say, go through 3 or 4 progressions, but you'd like to have that second option. Missed on a wide-open Jacoby Jones, but you got to execute that. Can't settle for field goals.
Now, Joe, when it gets down close, and that's one of his only faults, and unfortunately, I'm playing the role of John Garrick right now. But Joe does lock in on one guy when he gets down close. But the other thing was, Forsett scored, and they didn't challenge that play. I would have at that point just at least challenged whether he got in the end zone or not, because he did. And, that at least gives you another timeout. Even if you're wrong, your guys can reel their tongues in and stop drooling on the grass because they were so tired.
Well, I think what's going to be interesting is, are we going to see Tagliaferro against the Browns short yardage? He is a guy that's supposed to be a short yardage specialist for us and a powerful runner. Not that Pierce can't run in between the tackles. Forsett's not that kind of back. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting because you got to convert it, especially in a division game. This will be our 3rd straight coming up against the Browns, guys. Every point's going to count, and settling for field goals in Cleveland that may not do it this week.
Tagliaferro is the real deal. I mean, granted, he's wearing number 34, but when you look at him from up top there, he reminds you an awful lot of Herschel Walker. I mean, that guy can really get at it. I mean, granted, you playing at Coastal Carolina, not so much Herschel Walker, but he was. A lot of scouts thought that he was the best running back coming out of the draft, and definitely thought that he was good, the best guy picking up the blitz. So hopefully he'll get to play as the season goes on.
Well, he played well in the preseason. He's just waiting his time. He's waiting his spot to be moved in there. But I think you're right. I think their depth in the backfield at the running back position is better than it's been for a while.
Buck, Steve Smith. the acquisition that they made, I made the comparison to, we made up for the Anquan Bolden trade after without him last year. Steve Smith fits the profile of Anquan Bolden and what he brings to the offense.
Yeah, but getting back to the red zone, people don't realize it's a totally different ball game when you get in the red zone, and that's where we got to rely on the back to get us in there. And and so many times I've watched other teams just bang it, try in the middle. What happened to old student body left and student body right? I mean, spread it out a little bit, but you're not always going to be able to float one up in the air and get it in. So, and the Ravens have got the horses to do it, but they haven't done it yet in the red zone.
They need to convert.
Obviously, an old Maryland football fan.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But I think Kubiak will. If you looked at the one drive where he was moving the tight ends, moving them in and out, I mean, he was just playing with Pittsburgh's linebackers. And that kind of stuff is going to go over so well in the red zone as the season progresses.
That's true.
I do have to say this about the AFC North, and with all due respect to the Steelers, because it's going to be a tough game in Pittsburgh later in the season. They're retiring Joe Green's numbers, so I think the football gods will be smiling down upon them before the game's even started. But you take a look, Steve, that Pittsburgh Steelers defense, they're trying to fit in some new pieces there with youth, with some free agent acquisitions. They still have some older guys in the secondary. We talked about Palomalo. That's not the same Steelers defense. Their offense looked pretty weak as well outside of Antonio Brown, but Jimmy Smith did a good job shutting him down. I have to wonder, now certainly there's a long season to go, but I have to wonder early on if the Steelers are going to be as big a threat as maybe some people made them out to be this year.
Well, I think the Steelers defensively are going to be very similar to us offensively, where they're going to get better as the year progresses. I thought with them losing the amount of wide receivers they have over the past couple of years, I mean, even they've got a couple of rookies, but I thought they were going to be hurting on offense.
Yeah, they're like the Ravens. They're a well-coached team, and you don't want to give up on them too quick or shove them aside too quickly, because they are the Steelers, and there's an awful lot of that talent still there. So a lot's to be, we have to still see what's going to happen over the course of the season.
Yeah. The loss to the Ravens is going to make the Steelers tougher. They're going to come back. They're going to bounce back.
Yeah. Well, the one thing you're not used to seeing is them giving up a lot of yards in the run game, but also they didn't really have anybody to get after Joe. I mean, Jason Rawls, their outside linebacker, is the one guy that can, but in years past you'd always be concerned about both their outside linebackers getting after Joe Flacco. Didn't have that worry the other night. That was a good thing if you're a Ravens fan. All right, lots more to come. We want to cover the defense coming up. We haven't talked about that, and we were without, again, a big corner in Lardarius Webb. We'll talk about that coming up with the defense, Steve and guys, and then we'll also start to get into the game against the Cleveland Browns. But again, week Wednesday, a big name didn't practice, and we'll talk about that if there's anything behind that or not. So a lot more to come with that. You are listening to the Ravens Wrap Show. We're coming to you from the Blue Ox Barn Grill, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City. Again, we invite all Ravens fans to come on down. We've got ticket giveaways to Ravens games. We've got hotel packages. We've also got Bud Light prize packages as well. Keep it here. More of the show to come on Comcast Beach TV and WNDT TV Channel 47. We're back next. Keep it here.
What's this all about?
We're giving Rich the NFL experience of a goal line dive.
Really?
There's an easier way to get an ultimate NFL fan experience. Just snap the tag wherever Bud Light is sold and you could win. Bud Light in the NFL. Here we go.
Can I make it?
On the internet, yes. Into the end zone, no.
Come see us at Blue Ox.
JC Tickets provides first-class trips to Ravens road games, including airfare, 4-star hotels, game tickets, and cocktail parties. We also help provide great seating locations to all Ravens home games. JC Tickets, where the games begin. Visit us at jctickets.net.